Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nickel City Mafia channel, where we talk all things Buffalo and then some. My name is Mike Thornton, and tonight I wanted to give a quick update about something I talked about in my inaugural stream I did about 3 weeks ago. In that stream, I kind of introduced myself. Sorry, can't talk today for some reason. I introduced myself to you, kind of went through where I was born, where I was raised, or in Buffalo, in a little neighborhood called Little Hollywood, and I was there from about second grade till I was a sophomore in high school, and then I moved out to California for my first time. I lived out there for years, and I've been back and forth from Buffalo and Cali. But I spent most of my time in that wonderful neighborhood known as Little Hollywood, part of the Valley community. And why was it called the Valley? It was because the Valley was, in order to get into the Valley, you had to come over a bridge, cross over into a bridge. And there were bridges all around bordering the Valley. So pretty cool. But in 1985, 1986, there's some discrepancy. So for those that are local to the area, if you can kind of let me know when you think it was done. I've talked to two different people, including my aunt who lives right there on what's the street called there? I'm thinking about Smith Street. Sorry. She lives right there where the bridge was torn down. And she says it was 1986. Another person said it was 1985. I'm going to side with my aunt. She's, like I said, she was there. She's got pictures. And that's why I'm coming to you live tonight. I want to share those pictures. I don't think these pictures are available anywhere. The only pictures I was able to find, I'm going to show you in the next slide, is one picture. And I was like, man, there's got to be a lot more pictures that were taken as this was being torn down, but apparently not. I know my aunt was approached. Somehow the word got out that she had these pictures. So pretty cool. So let's get into it. Again, I'm going to take you a little bit back. We'll get through this as quick as possible, but I think it's important to share these images. So the folks that grew up with me in that neighborhood, we had kids, and those kids were probably born after that bridge. They were born after that bridge was torn down. So it's kind of really hard to describe to them what it was like in that area when those bridges were up. So this will give a little insight to that. So super cool. Let's get right to it. So first, here's the picture. This is the only picture I could find when I gave my inaugural stream 3 weeks ago. The old Seneca Street is on the right. This is the Seneca Street Bridge. On the left is what it looks like now. So that bridge has been completely leveled, as well as the bridge off to the left. That's the Smith Street Bridge. And you can see on the left side, the new view, they tore that all down. All those railroad tracks are no longer in use. They used to be active railroads. As kids, we had to be careful. We would cross them to get to other neighborhoods because they were shortcuts. But we would pretty much, most of us would stay away from those. Anyhow, that's it on the right. When I left in 1982, those bridges were standing. When I came back years later, those bridges were down, and it just floored me. So using this tool, Google Street View, I'm going to kind of go onto the Smith Street Bridge, and you'll have some new pictures that I didn't have in my inaugural stream, which are really cool. So let's move on to the next one here. So here we are. I'm going to use this Google Street View, and I'm going to take you down Seneca Street. I'm going to make that left onto where, remember, these are bridges, were bridges, back prior to 1986, 1985. When I was there in 1982, these were bridges. So imagine, here I am on Smith Street. You see the two images on the left? Those were images that my aunt sent over to me. You can see this is the Smith Street Bridge in the top left. And the bottom left is also the Smith Street Bridge being torn up by a machine known as an excavator. So pretty cool stuff. And so here I am. I'm going to take you down Smith Street. Imagine you're on that bridge. You're about to descend into the neighborhood. And what's really cool here, I'm going to stop real quick. Notice in the bottom left, next to the excavator, there's the first house on the left, and then there's that kind of grayish house, and then there's that burgundy house. Well, guess what? They're all there. They're still all there. So let me show you here. So over here, where this truck is in the driveway, That's my auntie's house. Thanks again, Annie Lane, for sending the pictures. But notice the blue house to the right of it. It wasn't blue back in 1986 when these pictures were taken. It was gray, but you can kind of see those windows are exactly the same. Next to it, you can't see it, but you'll see it in a little bit when I go down a little bit further. That maroon burgundy house is still there. These houses stand the test of time. So let me show you here if I can get a glimpse of it. So you'll see right over here, right behind the tree, and then again, this house at the very end is still standing. These houses look exactly the same. Yeah, they've had work done on them over the years. I don't know the exact age of these homes, but man, this whole neighborhood, these houses are extremely old, but they, like I said, they stand the test of time. They make it through these brutal winters, and they made it through this period of time where they were just tearing down these bridges. So pretty cool stuff. I wanted to show you here. So at the bottom right here at this light is Smith and Minton Street. So right there where that excavator is, we would have been coming down passing that excavator, and we would have been at the corner. If you kind of see it on the right hand side, there's a sign pointing to the right to go to Niagara Falls, and that is the highway entrance up there. So you can't really read it but clear, but trust me, it says Niagara Falls to the right. So anyhow, that's where we are right here. If I go right, I'm onto that highway. But you had two ways to come into our neighborhood. You can go left at this light onto Minton Street, right here. And it was a one-way. I'm sorry if I said right. You can go left onto Minton Street. Or you can make this slight U-turn and come into an extension of Smith Street next to the bridge right here. And now I want you to look on the top left. There's the bridge. Imagine the yellow line right here down Smith Street on the right-hand side. That's where the wall was. So on the top left, there's the wall. You can kind of see those. You can't really see the houses to the right. There's a car parked on the street. There's two cars parked on the street. I don't know, about 10, 15 feet to the right of those cars are where the houses are. So you had enough space to park a car, and you had enough space to kind of drive past that car. Again, this is a one-way street as well. So now, very cool. This is what it looks like now. Very busy street, but you can see what that bridge was like. Now you can kind of like show your kids, check this out. This is what it looks like now, but look at what we had to deal with back then. I talked to my aunt. She said she's so glad that it got leveled because for whatever reason, people driving off over the bridge love to throw bottles down into the streets here. She said very often every morning they'd have to go out and clean up bottles. Unfortunately, not sure why that was, but since it's been leveled, she said that doesn't happen any longer. Again, I don't know what it is about people on bridges doing crazy things. However, she also said as they were tearing it down, not only did the dirt cause issues, not only was the sound crazy, but there were these big rats that lived under these bridges, and they needed a new home. So when they tore these bridges down, these poor folks in these neighborhoods had to deal with that, and that was quite the mess as well. So anyhow, pretty cool stuff. And I asked my aunt, how long did this whole process take from the time they started tearing down these bridges? She told me 3 months. And I'm like, are you sure, Auntie? I mean, 3 months, all of us know whenever construction starts, it seems to take forever. To do this huge of a job in 3 months, I mean, I'm just amazed. But I have to take her word. If anyone else who watches this has any additional information, please leave a comment in the comments section. So again, very cool. Awesome pictures that you can now share with your kiddos and kind of show them what we're talking about when we say, hey, there used to be a bridge here next to these houses. So if I go a little further up the street, I'm going to take you to where I lived on a street called Exchange. And the reason I'm taking you here, I just want to show you, I didn't have the ability. You'll see this railroad track here. We could not go straight across. That was not a through street at all. There were a bunch of railroad tracks there. To the right, though, was the street that I lived on. And I'm only going down here because I want to show you the next slide here, which is the Seneca Bridge. So the Seneca Bridge, I'm facing where that Seneca Bridge would have been. Over, you can kind of see that little red art structure. I'm not sure what they call that, but it's some artistic thing that they built and put there. But if you look ahead of that, that's where that Seneca Street Bridge was, and that's in the top left picture as well as the bottom left. And so these two massive bridges were just torn down, all the railroad tracks dug up, and as kids, we used to hang out on these bridges. I mean, crazy to think about it. They were dirty, disgusting, dead. We'd see the dead rats under there at times, but we were kids, and that's how we had fun. And it's crazy to see that those were torn down. I'm glad they did it. It looks so much nicer. It's actually beautiful now, I believe. My aunt says that again, these streets here, the Smith Street, where the bridge was, super busy street. It still is a super busy street. And now the fact that you can go straight down Exchange Street and pretty much get to downtown Buffalo. You keep following this, you're going to get into downtown Buffalo, which is kind of cool. So it's a super busy street. I asked my aunt. My aunt told me they're trying to buy out those folks over there on Smith Street. I'll go over there again where she is. They're trying to buy her out. I'm like, Auntie, what keeps you there? And she's like, Michael, I got a sister who lives around the corner from me, and I got a lot of history here. She goes, I probably will sell it at some point if the price is right, and then I'll get out of Dodge. But for now, I'm content, and I'm going to stay here because of my sister around the corner who needs her help. She helps out a lot. But anyhow, super cool. Thanks again, Auntie, for these pictures. Now, these aren't the only pictures. I want to show you a couple other slides. Let's go right over here. So again, very cool pictures. The top left slide is if I was at the bottom of the bridge on where Minton Street is, where that freeway or highway, I keep saying freeway, we call the highways freeways out here in California, and back east they're highways. Anyhow, if I was looking straight up the bridge, that's what I would see. I wouldn't see that huge hole, of course. That's where the excavator was starting to tear down the bridge. But look how old and rusty those bridges were. Pretty disgusting. So glad they took those down. And then the bottom left is the machine that did all that tear down, which is super cool. Top right, again, that is Smith Street to the right of the bridge there. And those houses had that wall right there in front of them. And it was a dirty old wall. But as kids, we didn't know any better. We loved it. That was our street. That's where we lived. We played a lot on that street. Touch football, you name it. I mean, not a lot of space there. But a lot of people didn't park their cars right there on the street. They parked in the driveway, so we had more room to play touch football. Bottom right is kind of like when I took you to the intersection of Exchange Street. That was that's kind of the peak of the bridge. And that's kind of slightly to the right of that Exchange Street and Smith Street intersection. But awesome. I mean, check that out. That bridge was huge. It had railroad tracks, active railroad tracks. Buffalo was very active in the railroad industry back when I was there. I'm not sure when it stopped. I know there are certain areas that still have active rail trains coming through it. But I'd have to have one of the local folks kind of tell me where that might be. Anyhow, super cool on that slide. Let's move to the next one. A couple more shots here. On the top left, again, that's the Seneca Bridge. That's a view from Exchange Street, the street I lived on. Top right, I believe, is over by a Jordan Supply store that was behind the bridge. It's not Jordan Supply anymore. I'm not sure what it is called. My aunt said it is a store. I can't remember what she said. The two bottom images are shot from my aunt's porch. So right outside her porch, you see the wall, you see the machine starting to tear down the bridge to the right. I'm not sure what type of machine that is, that orange machine, but you can see all the dirt that's being dug up as this is being done. So I just can't imagine the amount of dust, dirt that was getting into these houses. And then again, that rat issue, my gosh, I've seen these rats. They're scary. I would run from them. So anyhow, God bless them for having to deal with it. They did. They got through it. Now it's so beautiful. Years later, there was my aunt was telling me there was some company, I can't remember their name, that they reached out to the folks here on Smith Street because they want to make it as beautiful as possible. And they asked some of those folks, they actually offered up grants to improve their house. And my aunt took advantage of it and was able to get a lot of work done for a lot less. And she had a lot of things remodeled in her house. So maybe another reason why she doesn't want to leave, because that house is beautiful inside. Anyhow, very cool. And then the last slide here, again, a couple more pictures. The top one on the left is Seneca Street view, Seneca Street Bridge, and again a couple more. On the bottom right is out my aunt's house, and you can see all that just dirt being dug up there as they're tearing down the bridge. And to the left side is also the view. If you were to walk out of my aunt's house and look left, that's what you would have seen. So super cool stuff. Again, I wanted to get that out there. I think it's important for the folks that grew up in that area to have these pictures. I don't think anyone has these. If you search on Google, you will not find it. You'll find only that one picture I showed you in the beginning. So super cool. Anyhow, that ends my time. I told you it'd be quick. Hopefully it wasn't too long for you. Anyhow, I want to let you know as well that this upcoming Saturday, we're going to start talking sports again. We're going to get into the AFC contenders, those teams that the Bills need to watch out for. And we're going to talk about who those teams are, and did we do enough to get that we can get back to the AFC Championship, and can we get beyond the AFC Championship? It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope some of you can join me, because that's what makes it more fun. Again, it'll be a detailed conversation about all the teams in the AFC and what did they do in the draft? Have they improved? And who are those teams we need to watch for? Obviously Kansas City, of course, but there are others. So I hope to see you next Saturday. And please leave me comments. I'd love to hear comments from you. The whole thing about doing this is to reconnect with some of you in that area. Great folks, little neighborhood called Little Hollywood. People ask me why was it called that, and I always say it's because of all the great stars that came out of that neighborhood. So see you. Happy early Father's Day to all the dads out there, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye now.